Hi everyone, Megan here from Modern Genealogy. Today we're going to talk about indexing and how to get started doing indexing. So indexing, if you're not familiar with it, is something that you can volunteer to do on FamilySearch.org. You don't need to be a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You just need to have a FamilySearch account, and then you can log in there and take the images that they have on FamilySearch that they've made available for indexing. You input the information from those images into search fields, and that makes it so that these records are then searchable by people on FamilySearch. So let me just show you how to get started doing that in FamilySearch. Alright, so here I am logged into FamilySearch. If I'm just starting out, I want to go to indexing and then help resources, where you can then go to the guided tour, and this shows you step by step how to index an image. So I'm not going to go through that, but this just shows you exactly how to go step by step through the instructions for indexing a record. So I'm not going to show you how to do that on this video, but I'm going to show you some of the other tools that you can find on FamilySearch to help you with indexing. So I'm going to leave this guided tour, and we're going to go back to this page, web indexing. So here is where you find a batch to do. So you just click on find batches, and you can choose the difficulty level you want to do, intermediate, advanced. You obviously want to start with beginning, and then you can also change the language. If you are familiar with another language that you feel like you could index records in, you can choose one of these. They're always looking for people that can index in other records. And that is how you find a batch. Then you would just say index, and then it would take you to that same page that you did in the guided tour. So I'm going to show you some other things that you can find here. On the same web indexing page, it will show you the totals that you've indexed. Once you hit 1,000 records that you've indexed, then you can review records. And that is just reviewing records that have been indexed, just to make sure that people are getting the information correctly in there. You can also see messages from, if a batch expired for me, or messages from a group that you're in. You can see your progress. You can see I did not do much indexing at all until just a few days ago. You can also see the groups that you're a part of. If you're a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, you'll be a member of your stake group and also your ward group. We've started a 7-day indexing challenge group that you can be a part of, and when you click on that group, you can see the progress that you've been making towards your goals. Another good thing to be aware of is also in this Help Resources menu. Click on there, and there's information about getting started, help articles, language and handwriting helps. There's the guided tour that we talked about, and then also some basic indexing guidelines. So these are, if you're ever stuck on something, just take a look at these help articles or basic indexing guidelines, and that can help you out. If the project instructions don't have it in there, but the project instructions are great for questions that you might have. I'm just going to show you something in this language and handwriting helps. So you click on there, and it shows you all these different types of scripts. Now in the beginning indexing batches, you might not need to worry about these because they're from a little earlier time period, but they're still helpful if you want to get more involved with indexing and do some of those more difficult records. There's also lessons. They take about 20 to 30 minutes to go through. A lesson about letters, dates and words, and documents. There's also some other additional resources there. So those are just great things to go through. If you go to overview here, it just gives you can find projects by a map. Then there's also the guided tour, and then getting help. So you can always get help with indexing. You can search for the resources there, or you can also send the batch to someone if you have a friend that is more familiar with indexing. When you're in that batch, you can send it to them. I'm just going to open this 1851 census up that I was doing from Canada. I'm just going to show you some tips to deal with difficult handwriting. So a lot of the beginner batches, they're actually typed down, or maybe the handwriting is pretty easy to read because they're more recent. But Just going to show you this. So this is the 1851 census, and you can see that some of this handwriting, now this handwriting isn't too difficult, but some tips that you want to keep in mind are to compare the letters on the page. If there's words on the page that you know for sure, like up at the top, here's the number 4, okay? You can kind of use those letters as guides to figure out other letters on the page. So let's just see if we can decipher this first name here. So if you look at the first name on the first line, that looks like George, right? So now you can use these letters as a guide. Maybe there's another name somewhere else that you're not so familiar with, but you can see, okay, that's a G, and maybe that word started with the G. You can compare the letters there. So this one, the last name, I'm not totally sure what it is. It looks like it could be an L, okay? But we want to just look through and see, it could be an S too. So let's just see what an S looks like comparing on these. Okay, here's a Sarah. You see how it's kind of similar, but it stops right there. It doesn't go through. So let's go back and see what that looks like on this. Okay, so this first one's kind of hard to read, but the second one, you can see that the line keeps going. So that makes me think that this is an L. So it'd be L, E, V. On this one you can't read it very well, but on this next name, see how it's the same name? That looks like an O, I, A, N, C, E. So you just want to look in the censuses, families were usually written together. So these 3 all have the same last name. So you just want to pay attention to that. And just compare the handwriting throughout the whole page. Another thing that I wanted to show you was that if you chose a batch that you open it up and it's just really hard to read and you don't feel comfortable doing it, if you go back to this web indexing page and you have my batches here, click on Manage, and then if you click on this little check mark there, you can return that batch. So then you won't have to deal with it anymore. I've done that with some where I opened it up and maybe there was some words on there that I wasn't even sure if I was supposed to index that page or not. It just felt a little over my head, so I returned it. So you can totally do that. If you choose one and it's too much for you, just return it. So hopefully that short little tutorial helps you to get started with indexing. I know for myself, I was always a little nervous to get started doing indexing, and just biting the bullet and getting in there and trying it out. That's what you need to do to get comfortable doing indexing. It's not so scary. Once you get started, you don't have to finish it all in one sitting. You can try it out for a few minutes and come back to it later. And there's so many helpful resources on FamilySearch to help you get that indexing done. So try it out. If you are watching this now, you can join our 7-day indexing challenge, which goes on until May 2nd. And I will put the link to our challenge group in the notes here so that you can join our group on FamilySearch. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and share this channel with your friends. See you later.